companies manufacturing fiber, local fiber. I am very pleased to have a meeting with you all, and in terms of capacity, the manufacturing of fiber, they are, as far as I'm concerned, the biggest two companies of Turkey. And as a user, I can say they have never put the ethical values aside and would like to convey my congratulations and thanks to them all for the quality they have brought in to our industry. So I'm trying to soften things up. Maybe in a while we may have tension going up later on. But once you look at the market in Turkey, we can say that they have manufactured high-quality products in Turkey and cooperated with the international partners. As you can see here with us today, many companies, many foreign companies are conducting sales in Turkey, and there is international and national competition, but they do regulate everything. So every new day is the day of our new life, and they also have their 2023 targets. In the next 5 years, we will have new developments, maybe for the 8-10 years, and you may now ask İsmet Bey, and maybe we should start with İsmet Bey.
İsterseniz oturarak devam edelim.
Evet.
Nasıl?
Önce bir hoş geldiniz
Peki,
diyeyim
nasıl?
herkese.
Thank you. Everyone thinks that we are going to have a fight, but we are very old friends, and you won't have it coming out of us. We are classmates with İsmail, so we are not just peers or competitors. We almost started at the same periods. And when İsmail started doing this job, I was working at another company. So no one should have their hopes up. From time to time about commercial subjects, we may have our competition, but still I learned from him a lot, and also he always appreciates my success in technical subjects. So I think I can take a seat now. And now I can leave the floor to my colleague Ismail. So can you let us know about your 2023 vision? So what are your projections? What about the industry? Where are we headed to? Well, according to our projections, I have to say that the geopolitical position of our country is very good because, as everyone says, you can travel to at least 3 continents with a couple of hours of flight. And we are luckier compared to the Europeans and many others. And we have a dynamic population. And in near future, I think the European companies will not exist in the game in the future. I think the next generations probably the well-known European companies will not exist anymore. Yes, we have good things in our country, but there are some risks as well. Certain giant companies and the next generations of those companies, their third or second generation, they think that this profession is a very challenging period, and they don't want to stick to that treacherous path, and they steer towards much easier routes. Don't you think that this is the case for Turkey as well? No, I don't think so. I don't expect this in our country. As far as I am concerned, in our country, the companies who are willing to change lanes are very, very few. So the companies in Turkey established are very old. And Polin, for example, they are one of our first customers. And now Polin is a world giant, and Polia as well. So approximately all the companies in Turkey are very hard working, and they have been focusing on to their targets. And I think that they will continue to flourish with their second or third generations. So another question. In terms of the development of Turkish industrialists, what do you think we have as a problem? The state regulations, the pressure from the municipalities or ministries, or the increase in the prices? So, what do you think we should pay attention to for the next periods? I think political instability. A potential political instability will bring in an economic instability with itself. And if you cannot project for the future and for your future potential investments, you may have risks. But this is the only thing. And other than that, I don't see any other risk factor in Turkey, because the composite industry in our country is luckier compared to others, and the growth rate potential will increase in a higher fashion compared to the others. So I think that we are in a lucky industry, both in terms of our customers and as the manufacturers of composites. And this is what I think. We had two slides starting from 1980, 78, and the third one was missing. So can you tell us now about that third slide for 2023 projections? Of course, our purpose is to grow more and do have a higher export volume. Yet, due to certain reasons, we could not achieve what we desired up to now. And the bar was kept very high. Sometimes we do keep the bar very high, and once we cannot achieve it, we do get shocked. And this is what we generally see in Turkey as well. The short-term plans are always put in use rather than middle or long terms. But did they know that a war was going to erupt in Turkey, in Syria? Maybe yes, they knew, or maybe not. But still, no matter what, they set the bar really high. And now I have been in that industry for 37 years. Yes, we set the bar high, but as Ahmet Bey stated, we should also have our zone of safety. And when you think of the Turkish currency, which is very sensitive compared to FX, and in markets, we can have different conditions. In our country, 320,000 tons of racing capacity is what is installed in Turkey currently. and additional capacities will come forward, and probably the installed capacity will increase up to 400,000. And if the consumption is around 100 and 150,000, and if the installed power will be increasing up to 400, then how can we grow the market? Some of us should take steps forward. Some people will do some certain things. Some acquisitions maybe will take place. The others will acquire the others. All this market will slowly kill itself. Well, if we do become optimistic, don't you think that we can export it? Yes, it can be possible, but where? In Europe, up to 2007, around 150 tons of consumption was of the case. And these figures are my personal figures, by the way. Now it is 400. And this is because of the working life or the environment and some other competition issues in Europe. And they had to transfer some of their production to the developing countries, starting from the automotive industry. So the market in the Europe fell back, and the number of the producers also fell. Now in Turkey we have 13 producers, manufacturers in Turkey, and their installed power capacity is 300,000, while it will be 400 in the future. And the market in Turkey is growing, but when you look at the export front of that, you can see that there are methodologies, easy ones, and the datas are taken in hand, and you can say the C company is sold that product, the unit price is $2, and you put it down, while in my case it's 100.99. So as a company, I do get disturbed about that. If you sell it to another A or B country, maybe it's not a problem because there's competition outside as well. But the instability in Turkish currency has guided some companies to other countries rather than Turkey, and this is a warning. And then we started adopting a new price policy after a certain point.
Ve hareket kabiliyeti düşüyor. Ve bunu hep şöyle gösteriyorum. Önce merdiven altında doğuyorum. Burada 2 tonluk bir reaktörle doğuyorum. Kime karşı? O tarihte burada olan 4 tane 5 tane reçine üreticisine karşı. Öyle doğdum. Ben kendin doldur, kendin boşalt yapan bir pozisyondan farklı bir hale geliyoruz. Kenara çekiliyoruz. Daha modernize olurken bir taraftan bazı şeyleri kaçırıyoruz gözümüzden. Yani kaçırdıklarımız, biz spot alım yapamayız, ham madde alımı. Belirli bir programa göre, çünkü büyüdünüz. Biz bir takım dokümantasyon ve kural ve devletin ister çevreyle ilgili ister mali olaylarının uzağına düşemeyiz.
Or certifications. These can be legal issues or economic financial issues related to documents or certificates. And for small companies, maybe these things are advantageous, but for big companies, these do slow us down. There are some companies who have to walk forward over a bridge, let's assume, and under the bridge there is a path for the cats, let's say, and those are the companies who have to walk through along that path. This sort of things may be an advantage for the small companies walking under the bridge, but the big ones walking over it may turn clunky. due to such impacts. And we also have political crisis. We have the provisional government in place now, and also, as İsmet Bey stated, we need a structure that will utilize the logistical advantages. And for the second and third generation, I do not agree with my friends. So we now have a generation who has gone through not a very well educational system, and but isn't it related with us as well? Didn't we put them into an aquarium? We, let's say, put everything to their need. We sent them to private schools and fed them and gave them whatever they needed. Well, the teachers who strived a lot will make their students strive too. And we ourselves had a lot of challenges during our childhood years, maybe. So that's why we try our best to make our children comfortable. Yes, these are all intertwined issues, but there is a risk about the next generations, I think. If the companies do not suffice themselves, certain acquisitions will take place, or some certain companies in Turkey based in Turkey will be acquired by other foreign companies, and I think if in Turkey the financial issues and the issues that I talked about before about the bridge, if these subjects are not tackled, probably some others will be acquiring us. But in terms of composites in the market, there are some other problems. 2005, 2015, yes, we have coordinated it well, but in our market, to sustain the composites and the resin, we needed to copy and paste the certificates of Europe to access to EU. Was the Turkish industry ready for that? No, but it was only due to some political reasons. And there are many other producers who go through challenges due to such demands and final product manufacturers. This is a subject to be addressed to. So yes, it's a subject to be addressed to, but you also are in other industries operating, the chemical industrialists or the dyeing or painting industries. So as industrialists, as manufacturers, do you think, do we speak out or do we just say that we don't have the enough level of speed compared to the EU countries, but rather we see that certain European countries even don't apply those, while we are expected to apply them and adopt them to the full extent, and we do not maybe speak out about that, and they say, well, if they can take it, maybe the state officials that are in Ankara say, well, if they can take it, maybe we can increase the intensity of that or the coefficient of that. Well, we tried all together, and the special consumer tax, for example, came out of the hat at the last minute, and they could make it only possible as they put the politicians right on it, and some politicians would act, and over certain PMs or maybe ministers, it was expected that they would come up with solutions. Yes, the reports they may provide, or the reports provided from the professor of a university may be correct, but without getting other opinions from the industry, the one who suggests that special consumer tax leads to further ignorance in Turkey, and we see that in our country. But I wish all the associations of industrialists or the chambers of commerce or trade could have their capacity to address questions rather than putting the industrialists into such rough patches just like that. And they could question if such taxes were needed or not. Do you think we should speak out loudly I think we had a lot of issues that came into effect due to our efforts, and you know that a quiet baby gets no suck. So the bureaucrats, the politicians, do you think we should have declared their names, or maybe in the Turkish Grand National Assembly Industry Commission, rather than financial consultants, should there exist certain industrialists? I think everyone has a power of pressure. What do you think? Well, we as the industrialists look what's ahead of us and go on track of that, while the politicians do zigzag. And if we, as the industrialists ourselves, do the same what the politicians do and zigzag, and then we will have a lot of complications.
Bu işi yapsın diye.
They need to consult to certain mediums, and maybe some stuff is moving, and maybe this is a change of agenda, but we know from what we see is that in 2016 there will be a bottleneck in the composite industry. In the world, yes, but in Turkey we'll feel that even worse. Mr. İsmet, in Turkey at the moment there are importer companies and there are manufacturers like you, like Boytek, like Poland, big names with high quality and a high level of technical expertise. When that is the case, when we have such a fine set of companies, how can we have all of these international companies come over and operate in Turkey? How do they manage to grab a part of the market? Do they sell certain products that you can't offer to the market, or are you not competitive enough? How does that happen? I think there are two reasons. The first one is the following. Composite industry uses raw materials from Europe. There is a certified and approved product. No matter whether you do better than it or not, you are one step behind. You're two steps behind when compared to the approved products, because there is a certain attitudes, a certain mentality that will always favor those approved products over the other choice. And they need to be tested not once but twice. And even if you go through all the tests and clear them out, there will be some resistance still to stick with the approved names. And but if you persist enough, then you will find a way to get it at some point. That's how it is in automotive. It's similar in maritime as well. Overseas companies have come. Euroresin, I think. I was quite pessimistic about it in terms of their future prospects, and despite the fact that the Turkish market appears to be very appealing, it's quite challenging. It has some unique characteristics, particularly for companies who are used to the European mentality. It's very difficult for them. The biggest company by number of staff is a composite manufacturer. And of course, the trend is upwards with the renewable energy increasing in popularity. It will be going up. But are the local manufacturers getting enough share out of the market? Because I know that many of these energy companies bring their own materials from Europe because they don't want to risk it. Even the mixing containers are brought from overseas. How is that going to work? How are we going to go above and beyond these obstacles to increase our shares? Can we make use of the government support? Because at the end of the day, it's on our soil. It's like a Turkish project, but everything comes from overseas. I think we are sort of guilty here as well because maybe we're not pushing enough. They bring composite wind turbines second-hand from Spain. They do a quick makeup and they use it here. This is like shooting themselves in the leg. Because there's a certain shelf life of these parts, and of course it's bad reputation for the whole industry if something like that happens. Currently, the wind turbine producers, manufacturers are mostly German and U.S. have German and U.S. Origin. But regarding fiber, I think the transformation has already started. They now ask epoxy resin for and more. Polyester or vinyl ester resin manufacturers are no longer active in Turkey. We are in a position to sell these overseas, but that company is no longer operational in Turkey. So we're going to take questions from the floor. Mr. Ahmet, what question do you have? He's not that senior, but he's senior. Just joking. Microphone, please. Microphone, please. I can't hear the speaker. Apologies for lack of translation. Well, you're not that young yourself. Do not isolate yourself from that group. Well, polyester didn't even exist then, and I am colleagues with İsmet, and I don't know Mr. İsmail, but I know that I've heard very good things about him. They are very much hands-on. They came up with this, and they have put in a lot of efforts, and it's thanks to them that we can now. We are in this position for Burak, for Özgür. We wanted to employ them. They are the new generation. They are the ones who will follow. And we will transfer all of our knowledge and know-how. Miss Beryl is sitting behind you, by the way.
Benim bu arkadaşlara bir sorum olacak ama ondan önce şunu soracağım. Ben gerçekten onların bu sektöre
I would like to thank all of my colleagues for their contributions to the industry on behalf of myself, my country, and my company and the country. You've been great contributors. I only have one question. Which of you likes me the most? You always need political answers because you're political. Mr. İsmail is quite political. He said good things about the association. And we changed our name, we were a member. But we need to make clear when he essentially became a member. It was such a hassle for us to get him onto the association as a member. How was it? I almost had to threaten him. But those were good days. Chairman, Mr. Chairman. My principles forced me to make decisions in a chronological manner. The association at the time was there. I wasn't a member, but I was always a supporter financially and morally, even if I weren't a member at the time. That's true, that's true. I just wanted to mention the official membership date. With regards to placement, there's a lot to be done by everyone. The onus is on all of our shoulders. And of course, we need to be aware of our responsibilities in terms of our placement capability, and we need to be bold enough, we need to be courageous enough. Mr. İsmet mentioned about Euro resin. And the some resins are produced by a company in Izmir, and it will be produced as such. And the style and type of resins by Ege Kimya will be there. So when I look at this picture, İsmail, Darcan, Boytek don't really matter. I should either bear the cost, or I should refrain from doing it. I think
Öyle bir demokrasi de yok, öyle bir şey de yok. O zaman bu konuyla ilgili
so.
Bey dışarıdan
Mr. Anthony,
geliyor İngiltere'den ona dikkat
if it's bringing something from England,
durabilmeli.
he should be bold enough to stand against it, whatever is being imposed on him.
Bizim de
And for us,
yaşlı olmamıza rağmen
we're old, but we need to be warned as well for the continuation, for the solution. Mr. Anthony is here, and we have our colleagues from automotive industry. So we produce part X for OEM in Europe. And sometimes we buy this and that from Jacques and George. Or there is an additional round of fights and whatnot. Polyester might be problematic, I might have problems, there's a lot of risk. That's another part of the discussion. Our northern neighbor, I'm also part of TISAT board. If our northern neighbor makes an automotive investment, they want to have a certain level of local input, and they go with it. So what we need to do, we need to get Ankara on our side, we need to motivate them, we need to shake them up. What do we do? I'm talking about the bureaucracy in Ankara. What do we need to do? Maybe we're not lobbying enough. I'm 100% agreeing with you, but we used to have a state tradition with 10 to 15 years of planning and the state planning organization that doesn't exist anymore. Every new government has its own teams, and we don't have these long-running technical or technocracy anymore. Therefore, that long-term planning doesn't exist. And we need to exchange information very quickly, and this is a way of warfare. And for technical matters, open agreement or confirmation has to be there. There needs to be a framework to support this. But this should not be done for the sake of saving the day, but we need to have a long-term plan and strategy. Open trade avails everything, but we all know that, I saw Miss Linda, by the way, a seller in Pendik many years back was importing polyester. Polyester was abundantly available in Turkey, and he sold it for this much money. So this is part of free trade. But this is all done to save the day. That's my opinion. We, the people in this industry, all of us, need to have a more long-sighted vision so that we can differentiate the good from the bad. And then we'll be wrapping up soon. And we'll be opening the floor for questions, and then we'll have to wrap up. So there is 20 years of experience in Turkey. There is 450,000 tons of investment. So the new investors like Mr. İsmail or Mr. İsmet, we couldn't move along the ladder. Shall we continue with our investments? Is that their line of thinking? What is it that they're thinking? We're talking about quite significant figures: 350,000, 400,000, and We have esteemed raw material manufacturers as well in our industry. We also have our guests from overseas who sell to Turkey, who try to sell to Turkey, who have contractors in Turkey.
Bunların içinde acaba
So, do you think there is a difficulty related with high capacity? Maybe it will be good in terms of the prices. Maybe we will have short-term advantages, but in the middle and the long term, maybe difficult. So, do you think in the next 5, 10 years there exists a potential problem? Yes, there is, because that much of excessive capacity, that many companies cannot be sustainable. Maybe if they can manufacture different products, the innovative ones that are unique products, maybe yes. But looking at the existing products, if they do continue with those, then there is a risk. And the conventional products or the general polyesters cannot be sustainable. So consolidation may start very soon. So we may have 1 or 2 questions from the floor. And please introduce yourself first. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for the summit. I'm Özgür Sönmez from Literatür Kimya, the founder of the company. In the recent period, since we have gone into the composite industry, we had done a lot. We are not able to voice ourselves that much. We have resin and fiberglass, and we talk about our dependency to the other countries. There are many companies, for example, some are not comfortable with the anti-dumping, the anti-discount, and this is a question to Ismail Bey. And if they do manufacture through contractors or subcontract, and what do you think the results will be? Contract manufacturing, what do you think about the contract manufacturing? Okay, this is the first question. Maybe I can give the floor to Hakan and then continue. Maybe you should stand. Probably they know me all. If you allow me, I'll prefer sitting. Good night. I don't have an intention to steal roles from the others, but let me say that Şişe Cam Group
Cevher olarak üreterek gerçekten %100 yerli kaynakla bu ülkeye 76 yılından beri bu kompozit sektörünün bir şekilde hani eskilerin dediği gibi banisi, kurucusu ve devam
and one of the first founders of the industry in composite manufacturing. So they have been increasing, we have been increasing our capacity, and I should promise that we will continue. And about the contradiction, İsmet Bey stated that I do firmly believe in the entrepreneurial spirit of Turkey, and probably we will replace the Europeans, he said, and also Darcan said that we will have scarcity in 2016. No, I don't think so. Despite the high prices in export, we have driven through the internal domestic market, and we have good prices. And the importers of the previous times will continue to import, but we will continue with the investments, and the ones in the fiberglass industry probably know. It will take you, for example, to install or build a furnace if you do give the orders now. But if the polyester continues as it is now, and if there is a shortage in terms of supply in the world for fiberglass, for example, it's around 4.5 million, and these are also related with the technology issues. The technology and also some other precautions have been taken. And then we need to protect the local raw material producers. We're talking about polyester, and we are firmly believing that we should be protecting our local resources. And for polyester manufacturers, so the polyester manufacturers, we shouldn't be anxious or concerned. I've been in the composite industry from 1981 on, and we used to have 15 manufacturers previously, and now we still have 15 manufacturers. The market is changing, developing, and as İsmet Bey stated, it should contribute as it develops, but still, if there is a possibility for export in Europe, then we should what's needed. But when you think about the local resources, I think we should also concentrate on that. The refineries and the raw material problems are what we have been facing in Turkey, and the plans, the investment to establish such plants or refineries should be available in Turkey. And about the fiber, don't worry, we will do what we need to do. And we have good news from Hakan Bey, Şişe Cam Group Chair, was here, and Hakan Bey, when he provided us further information, we are more optimistic. Probably in the next couple of years, we will see a good takeoff. Sometimes we may be a little anxious or be a little mad at you, but we are in a total consensus for the sustainability and survival of all the companies based in Turkey. And we, of course, expected the investment and also the endeavor. And now for the second part of the question, I will leave the floor to Ismail Bey. For Özgür, I have to say that we didn't make them to Menzolit to invest. We only had a license contract with them in 2010, and the reason for that was related with the automotive industry. The A-class SNC compound users mostly used to import, and the importers at the same time was producing, manufacturing car parts with RTM or hand layout, and we had the volatile FX regimes, and said we should save us from the SMC import. The local ones were not able to manufacture approved products. They used to say Mercedes or the other companies are providing this and that to me. And we said that who is manufacturing verified, validated products? It's Menzolit. We said, yes, come here. Then we will use your license. We will give 2% to you if the sales are good. We will provide 3% to you, and then we will be independent after 5 years. This is how we invested to use their licensed products for A-class product manufacturing. If we did the same for the new Menzolit, we would just throw ourselves into the bus and under the bus, and then open the path for the deterioration of the industry. We should be, by the way, short in our questions.
Lafı %35
There was a 35% import tax at the time. And like I have always said, glass fiber has to live. This is our opinion. Because local manufacturing means that there will be faster growth. And Şişecam has done a lot for the industry, but there have been some technical mistakes that they have committed. And they have sort of tried to mix apples with pears. And when aggressive environment was caused because of anti-dumping, we saw these problems emerging, and all the political reasons, of course, might result in a flood of attacks towards a certain country. And this might also will mean that the anti-dumping balance is lost. And when polyester prices go down swiftly, we are currently at 120, 130 levels, and petrol was at the time $27, $35. Now we are at $45, and it's not going to go down any further. And when the made in China came into the market, fiber is going up, resin prices are going down, and glass fiber, when it goes out of the market, Angelos will start dancing because it will mean anti-dumping. Okay, so can I then give the floor to our guests from overseas if there is any question?
Is there any question for our further guests?
I think we should make a change of direction.
Yavaş yavaş toparlıyoruz.
Well, we need to wrap up. We need to wrap up.
Kapatıyoruz. Oldu.
Because we're out of time. We're over time. I have a question. And I think it's worth talking about.
Beni tanımadınız.
You didn't introduce yourself, by the way. My name is Orhan Onur. I am their student.
Sene 2023.
In 2023, you say,
Avrupa bu üretimle beceri imalatını azaltıyor.
Europe and CTP, Europe will be reducing CTP manufacturing. Well, it's not really reducing, it's just a change of cover.
Ama yüksek performanslı
They are
kompozitler
going towards high performance
harika bir iş yapıyor.
composites. They're doing a great job in Europe. Where are we? That's the question. The question is, where are we? What are we doing? What are we going to do? What's our long-term program?
Nasıl bu işi
How are we going to position ourselves in the defense industry?
yok var. Silahlar. Var değil. Aerospasiyal sanayi.
What about aerospatial industry? Why can't we be part of it?
Bence anlatıyordu. Şu hızlı trenlerin ve şeylerin, cepheden biz okulda neredeyiz? O yargotu. Dinledin herhalde değil mi? Enteresan yargotu. Burada neler yapıyoruz? Evet. Tamam. Söz sende. Konuştum ben.
Brother Orhan. Mikrofon lütfen. Mikrofon lütfen. Ben beyefendi sesini duyamıyoruz. Microphone please for the speaker. If I can call him that, I would like to call him professor. He's my business professor, not university, of course. I've learned a lot from him. Where are we? We are where we need to be. It is very similar to where we are geographically. Why we can't be part of defense industry? Is it the Oriental line of thinking? I don't know. Are we trying to be too smart? Let me just put it this way. Vinyl ester used in defense industry is still imported from England, and the state even supports it. Well, they don't sort of prohibit it. If they sort of condition the whole industry to buy it locally, that's doable. We can come up with those specifications. That's not the case. Somehow, it just doesn't work that way. And we have seen this in the past 10 years as well. We've been manufacturing this, but somehow the resin is being imported from overseas. And the state has to sort of be part of this picture. They try to increase the targets, but they can't materialize on their plans. So we're told that Turkey manufactures its own aeroplanes. Well, we don't manufacture aeroplanes. It's Dornier plane. It's been there for 50, 60 years. There's no point saying that we manufacture our own planes. We have aerospace engineers, we have mechanical engineers. Turkey needs to design this. Turkey needs to manufacture it. It has to be 100% made in Turkey. If that would have been the case, then it would be a different picture. Then we would not come up with a Dornier. Maybe it would be something else, say a firefighting aeroplane. But then you could use that as a stepping stone to build up experience upon. I think we've been too lazy. These are the effects of the global world. The last two questions will come from Mr. Özgür. I would like him to ask, what would you ask your father? The same for Mr. Burak. And we will conclude afterwards. Well, I'm not prepared for this. I'm not prepared at all. (2023) is what we're talking about, and if Turkey will be a country, will Turkey be a country that will lead Europe sometime in the future? (2023) will be a function of the success of the second generation. Mr. Burak, you need to be careful. You need to be careful. Hi, my name is Burak Darcan. For those of you who don't know me, we have started all together, Mr. İsmet, my father. Would you consider working together again sometime in the future, some sort of a merger? Would there be any such plans? Is that a question for two of us or for me? First of all, Vladimir Haralamba, may he rest in peace. May him have a long, healthy life. We mentioned his name, and he was really the father of polyester industry in Turkey. And he once said that you need to work together for the future of polyester industry. Your father is a great technical expert. I am a commercially oriented person. It would have been a good combination. But in Turkey, these partnerships or collaborations take some years. I had a partner who was also a friend for me for 14 years. And after 14 years, we decided to become partners. We were partners for 4 years, and we had to go our separate ways because it's difficult. It's difficult. And I remember buying his site off in Avcılar, and on the way to Avcılar we had an accident, traffic accident. It's difficult to foresee such a partnership in the near future. A sweet competition is good for us. Second generation should continue successfully, and these gains that you have are important. You need to be sensitive, to be successful in your endeavors in an ethical competitive way. You need to be vigilant about any parties who are in the market competing in not so ethical ways. And we need to make sure that all of these counterparts are with us, within us, in these associations, working together. And we need to be bold and courageous and ensure that they are named when they need to be named, so that there will be some sort of a balance in the industry. No stealing, quality products, good relationships, good friendships, ethical commerce and trade, and no killing off your competitors, because sometimes even the smallest stuff can be quite annoying. We need to be very careful about these, and we need to refrain from such actions. You need to shape up your stance accordingly, and you need to be respectful to the ethical competition as you have taken it from your fathers. I tell the same things to my daughter and my sons as well. Yes, this market will grow. Glass fiber will be there. When fiber manufacturing in Turkey ceases, of course, it will not be good for anyone. We're not afraid, but unfair competition is not good for anyone. There are 13 manufacturers now. It might be go up to 15, go down to 3, but somehow we need to ensure that
difficult conditions, then